Hi, my name is Dan MacDonald, and this is my wife, Sarah MacDonald, and we're thankful that we get to share with you what God's been doing in our life and in our new son, Zachary's life.
So about a year ago, we found out we were pregnant with our first child, but during the pregnancy, during one of the screens, we found out he had what's called a congenital diaphragmatic hernia, meaning during development in the womb, his diaphragm didn't form completely. There was a hole in it, allowing his stomach organs to migrate into where his lungs were, and it impacted the development of his lungs and then also the function of his heart. The diagnosis was, it was hard to get. It was really hard to get, and I just couldn't understand why God would do this. You know, I opened up the Bible to Psalm 139, and I just kept on reading, "You knit me together in my mother's womb," and I didn't understand why God would knit somebody together with a hole. And it says that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. How could something so wonderful be made with a defect, with a hole? It seemed like it was a mistake, but I know that God doesn't make mistakes. So I began to pray. I prayed for healing. I prayed for miracles. I prayed for it all to go away. I prayed for life, but most of all, I prayed that Zachary's life, no matter how short or how long, would glorify God. And that was the hardest thing I had to pray. After I was finished praying, I felt a peace. I knew the road was going to be a difficult one, but God was going to be with us through it.
I remember when I found out, God just brought Romans 8 to mind, and I wrestled with it because it said that God works together for good for those who love Him. And same thing with Sarah. I just didn't understand how could this be good, but I always tried to understand that verse correctly, and the fact that our good is not the same as God's good. At the same time, God was working things together. So even if at that time we didn't really see how this could be good, and though I don't really want it, if you want this and you purpose this and you've planned for this, then help me to want what you want. Help me to desire what you desire, in whatever is ahead for us. And I knew, that big 5-letter word, trust, is what we really had to understand.
As time rolled on through the pregnancy, delivery, the ECMO or bypass, infection, blood clot, surgery, everything didn't always go as we had hoped. But it really helped us realize just how strong God is, how mighty He is. Prayers poured out from our family and friends, and it soon became obvious how powerful prayer really is.
The peace that provided, it really did carry us throughout the whole time, and even in the hospital.
With every roadblock came triumph, much to the surprise of the medical staff. We were told to expect a homecoming around New Year's, but our son Zachary came home about a week before Thanksgiving, after spending 76 days in the NICU. Leaning on God was probably the only thing that kept us standing.
It was definitely the first trial that me and Sarah, were walking through together. And it's interesting. It's not that you ever look forward to trials, but when it came, it was like, okay, this is what's here, and this is our first one. I read about this in Scripture, and I've yet to really experience this. God was mighty, as Sarah said, in answering prayer and providing strength, and most importantly, trust. And He still, allows us to do that each day, as it's not easy, but we're thankful that He is a mighty God who is victorious in battle. And we see that today. We've seen His hand of healing upon Zachary, and we see how He gave him a lot of feistiness and a lot of fight to be able to fight through all the difficulties that he has been walking through. So if you don't know this mighty God, I encourage you, I plead with you to take a step and trust in this mighty God who alone can heal, who alone can save us and forgive us. And that's the one we're trusting in, and it's our story.